Macon Bank would like to have the field that they're on. They came out and actually did it.
He's on their board.
Roger, team out.
Macon Bank moves that leaves one of the baseball fields up.
That is correct. Thank you.
Okay. Tammy, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
And we'll move rather quickly. That took a little bit of time, but it was an important discussion, so let's try to move it again. Next time, Tommy now. Go back to my comments 37 minutes ago. The Caterpillar thing, I won't say all that again, but we have become very aware of that situation, and we have some things going. Felt like it was appropriate for Tommy. This discussions I had with Tommy, Tommy is in Chester. I don't think you and I talked to Chester about it just briefly. I don't think we necessarily vote. I think Tommy can do certain things of this nature within the scope of his job. But in talking with me, as chairman, I really don't have the authority to give him direction for me at least.
I think he certainly needs to leave here with a consensus. The board would like to have him do what he can do to help with this.
As long as you guys are privy to what we've talked about. So Tommy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I won't take a few minutes. Originally, we were going to do an EDC review, but in light of what's transpired the last few days, so I just want to bring y'all an update on the Caterpillar situation. As most of you know, Thursday afternoon and early afternoon, CAT informed their employees that they were going to be closing their Franklin and Toccoa facilities and consolidating those facilities in Mapleton, I believe, Illinois. That came as a shock not only to the employees but the whole community. We had discussions with CAT and we kept up with on a regular basis about workforce training last year. Matter of fact, the last meeting we had with them was back in October for Governor McCory's 1,000 visits in 100 days. And we discussed some workforce issues then, or opportunities for them. Had no indication at all that this was in their plate. Obviously, Thursday afternoon was the first time we'd heard that. The whole county had heard of it. After Kevin and I spoke, I received a call from Jan Moore, who's the Southeastern Manager for Governmental Affairs for Caterpillar, confirming that. And so we decided we better move on pretty quick. Friday afternoon, talked with Assistant Secretary Pat Newsom, still out of the Department of Commerce. Informed her of the situation. We brought in the governor's office and into the conversation, as well as the Division of Workforce Solutions, to look at possible options moving forward. The result of that is tomorrow in Raleigh, there'll be a meeting with the Secretary of Scaveria, Commerce Secretary, Susan Fleetwood of the Governor's Office, also Assistant Secretary Mitchell and Danny Gerlach of the Golden League Foundation to explore options not only in the short term but in the long term. So that meeting will take place tomorrow. And that's a closed meeting, but Secretary Mitchell said that she will be speaking to us as soon as that meeting's over. So let us know where they are with that. In addition, we reached out to CAT's Global and Governmental Affairs contact in Illinois to see what options we have moving forward, both short term and long term. At this point, I think it's fair to say we're just assessing the situation and developing a plan moving forward. There's a lot at play in this. Our options are somewhat limited, but we explore whatever options we got to make sure that not only we can use that facility, but keep those people gainfully employed for good jobs.
And Tommy, I also talked to the president of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners on Wednesday. Spoke with Commissioner Bill in that organization, and we made those folks aware of this. So not again. Just to be realistic, it's private business making a private decision. I'm not sure how much influence we can have, but if we can have influence, then we need to do that.
Yeah, and to go back to Chester's point, I sort of do what I can do and come back to y'all and report.
I think in a nutshell, he understands very well what his focus is, and he will go out and try to put together the best recommendation he can and bring that back.
Do we have a general consensus, board, we're in agreement with that? I see the head officer, left rep reflected with unanimous consent proceed with this.
Thank you, Chairman, let the board know I'll be involved Thursday and Friday, and talk to Chairman. Anything I can, I'm sure you can get in to see, Secretary, if we need to.
And
We want to handle it to them, and we want to have it.
And we have to put in, talk to the governor and to the Secretary of Commerce, and that they both may be available to meet on Friday. So if so, we may ask Tommy to go down, and Ronnie, since you're there. Sounds good.
Whatever to handle, they need something.
That's right. Well, we're getting some, we get some information for the making.
I had to step out for a second. We're putting together information, the number of jobs, the salaries of jobs, and all that kind of thing.
How many jobs, for your particular report on it, how many jobs are actually going to be lost? Do you have that solid number?
Well, the total number between Farmers and Tacoma is 275, and the best I've been to ascertain locally is 102.
About 100 years. You multiply that with one person, about 4 for everyone that's going to take.
And also, this isn't a load to track out in the middle of the night and be gone the next morning. This is going to transpire over 18 months to 2 years. Anticipate from what I've been told, they'll be working pretty extensively for this year.
That would be more.
Any questions, Tom? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Jim.
Mr. Manager, I know we sort of skipped the review thing. If you have anything to add there, or we're going to move into finance.
I can do a short mid-year review. This is where we are in terms of projects and where we can have it from there. We'll have to finance section.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Chairman, board. Looking back at this past fiscal year, it has been a busy year. And this same time last year, we sat around the table and we discussed our goals and what we wanted to accomplish in fiscal year 14-15. I think at that meeting, it was made clear by the board that they recognized the high level of service that Macon County employees and departments provide to the citizens of this county. Furthermore, I think it was made clear that you wish for that high level of service to continue. And as you made clear too that no tax rate increase was going to be put in place, so we continue to provide this service at the same funding levels. Also, we recognize that this meeting, we wanted to stabilize our fund balance as we prepared for the uncertainty that would accompany the revaluation that was taking place and we're finalizing now. Taking these directives, administration and department heads went back and we presented you with a budget of $45,700,000. That was approximately 3.4% less than the original budget from the previous year. The fund balance position was stabilized beginning in 11-12 through 13-14. Our fund balance position had declined by 9% to 33%. As of June 30th, 2014, our fund balance is 34%. So we feel that we have achieved that goal of stabilizing the fund balance position. We've maintained an A+ credit rating, and most importantly, we remain committed to providing the citizens of Macon County with the most efficient and effective services possible. We face many challenges so far this fiscal year. The first one being the revaluation. If you'll recall, last year at this same time, Mr. Leitner had came before us and notified us that we could see up to a 20% decrease in the tax base $2 billion, which would lend us our tax rate now at 0.279 per $100 of assessed value. If we use that same revenue, that would have taken the tax rate up to 0.355 per $100 of assessed value. As the economy has continued to improve, we saw our sales tax revenue up from this time last year by about 8%. Our building permits in Macon County from this time last year, I think, Jack, are up about 48%. As we see this economy continue to improve, combined with the hard work of the men and women in the tax office, and Mr. Leitner spoke to the board a couple nights ago that by doing this in-house, has saved the county approximately $1 million right off the top by conducting this reappraisal in-house rather than outsourcing it to a third party. We were able to see a tax base decline of $1.3 billion, 14.5%. So with that new tax base of 8.057 billion, that means that under the current, if we say we're going to need the same amount of revenue next year as this year, and we're revenue neutral, which is the term you've heard used so much lately, the tax rate would only have to rise to 0.33 per $100 of assessed value. And if you look around and you ask yourself, well, where does that put us regionally? Where does that put us statewide? The tax rate at 0.33, if you look around our region, the average tax rate for the 7 counties that we're a part of in the Southwestern Commission is 0.39 per $100 of assessed value. If you want to expand that scope and look at all the counties in the state, the average tax rate for all the counties in the state is $1.10 per $100 of assessed value.
Orange County is above 51.
Right. So, so still and yet, again, the notices have went out, and we are finishing up in the final stages of the revaluation. Have done an excellent job. While it was a decline in the tax base, it wasn't a decline as significant as we had originally expected. Insurance was another issue that I brought forth in the budget message last year, and since then we have worked diligently. Our county staff has established a work group made up of not only administration but county employees working alongside our insurance broker to address the problems that we're seeing in our insurance fund. And just to highlight that, the insurance fund is defined by our audit is to act like a fund in the private sector. In other words, by design, that insurance fund should make money. There's two sources of revenue primarily going into that fund: county contribution and employee contribution. And out of that, you pay the claims, the prescription costs, and administrative costs. So since 2009, under the current rates we have in place and the current plan that we offer, our net position, which acts as a fund balance for this insurance reserve account, has declined by 70%, or an average of $820,000 per year. And so moving into fiscal year 14 and 15, as we projected out, we said, hey, there's not enough in this insurance reserve fund for us to continue with this plan through fiscal year 15-16. So as we saw that, we knew it was imperative that we begin to make changes now. And as the committee continues to work and get the numbers together, we will have a product to bring back before the board sometime in the near future. And we have been keeping all employees in the organization aware of what has been going on and being discussed with this insurance review committee by way of an email. We've established an email network where we send our minutes and the charts we've been discussing, the diagrams we've been discussing, out to all the employees, and they can provide us feedback. They can provide us back with feedback through that same network. And we have taken that feedback, incorporated into our committee discussions, and we feel that at the end of the day, we will still have an insurance product that we offer the employees of Macon County that is high quality and affordable. We continued in this budget to focus our funding on priority areas. Schools, if you will look at the makeup of our budget, have historically been a top priority for Macon County Boards of Commissioners. This year, we held the operating expenses to at 13 and 14 year levels for the Macon County Public Schools at $7.3 million. We added an additional $100,000 to the capital outlay for the schools, bringing this total to around $200,000. And also, we voted mid-year to appropriate an additional $12,800 to the schools for fixing the batting cages at the ladies softball fields. We continue to support our community college in their efforts to expand their campus, as we're having discussions right now resulting from the master plan that the board also assisted Southwestern Community College with funding, and we're currently still in discussions on seeing how we can make some of the things in that plan come to fruition. We also focused on public safety, which has historically, as it makes up about 22% of our budget, been a priority area for the Board of Commissioners as well. Our EMS was able to add additional staff, which increased their coverage. There are still funds in this budget for an additional ambulance if needed. In the Sheriff's Department, with the support of the Board of Commissioners, we're now able to say that an SRO is at every school in Macon County to watch out for the students at that school. Many projects have continued to be underway, and we're embarking on many new projects as well in fiscal year 14-15. The $3.3 million Parker Meadows Recreation Project, which we have just got done discussing, is making headway. We expect that to be finished in the summer of 2015. And not only are we in the construction phase, where we also have members of the economic development staff, recreation staff, members of the Little League Board, and travel leagues, our recreation board, have all came together and formed a committee to start discussing how are we going to market the Parker Meadows Recreation Park. But more importantly, how are we going to market that and keep our local leagues in mind and make sure that their schedules fit in with the travel ball tournaments that we will be marketing to. So as that committee continues to meet, we're making very good progress, and it looks like that we will be able to have some tournaments scheduled and bring some people in here in 2015. The board also increased funding to the Highlands Recreation by $5,000, bringing that total to $500,000. So we've really focused on recreation and improving the quality of life, not only our citizens, but pursuing new economic development alternatives in things such as the Parker Meadows Recreation Park. Our landfill expansion is another project that we've recently embarked on. We're currently in the due diligence phase. We're looking at 2 parcels of property that, if purchased, would add 10 acres onto the landfill. This would add an additional 60 years of life to the landfill, and it would give citizens an estimated $51 million in savings over the life of the landfill when compared to shipping and tipping from a convenience center. We have also recently discussed the county service area. That was brought up at the last meeting, and we're continuing to move forward on that project. That would be an additional $160,000 in revenue to Macon County a year. And this $160,000 is not additional revenue. It is, as Commissioner Tate alluded to at the last meeting, it's making us whole for the services that we provide to these 322 parcels in Jackson County. These parcels are total about $455 million in tax base, and from these 322 parcels, Jackson County receives approximately $1.2 million in revenue. And the $160,000 that we would be discussing with Jackson County is 13% of that amount. Along with the projects and the internal things like the insurance and the reval that we've been dealing with, what's important to note more than anything is that our departments continue to do great work. Our health department was recognized nationally. Our DSS department, when implementing the NC FAST system for benefit disbursement or entitlement disbursement, has remained at the top of the state in terms of percentage of backlog. And this has created tremendous hardships for counties across the state as they try to implement this program. But thankfully, under the direction of Ms. Jane Kinsey, her and her staff have been able to to implement this program successfully, and they've done a great job. And not just those two departments, but all departments. All departments have taken measures to reduce costs. The Sheriff's Department, I've worked with the Sheriff's Department as we pursue inmate insurance. We're now pursuing an alternative means of involuntary commitment transport that we feel will give us significant savings. Building Inspections Department consolidated a position in terms to free up some money there. Our IT department reduced their budget, and they continue to provide us internally with excellent service. The maintenance staff, if we had a nickel for every dollar the maintenance staff saved us, we could add no telling how much back to the fund balance, because they really do save us a lot of money, and they do a great job in all departments. Down work as we carry out the goals of the board, and look forward to going into next year's budget and taking the same challenges and embracing them. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Question, Jim? Derek, I'll just say on behalf of the board, I think I do speak for everybody up here. Your first year, you've not done a good job, you've done a great job as county manager, and carried out the expectations of the board, and in most cases, I think exceeded. When we started, I told you privately that I had two things. You had one thing working for you, one thing working against you. The thing that was working against you was your age and experience. The thing that was working for you was your age and experience. You didn't have any preconceived notions. But you've taken, I think you've taken that made it positive. You've done a great job. I believe I echo in terms of absolutely. Thank you, Derek. Yes, sir. More administrative that